Hi, Kathy. How are
How
you?
are you? Good. Good to hear from you again.
Thank you so much. First of all, thanks a lot from the bottom of my heart and soul for accepting my invitation, Kathy.
Oh yeah, of course, of course. No, it'll be fun.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, how is your place hitting you, Kathy, over there? Because it's raining over here at my
Yeah, it's
place.
been strange. It's been very strange. They're saying that the fires from Canada, the
Mhm.
smoke is coming
Oh.
from Canada. So it's like very hazy,
Mhm.
hazy. Yeah, and just very cloudy, yeah. We're hoping for the 4th of July weekend. This weekend,
Mhm.
Independence Day, that the sun comes out. So
Okay.
hopefully, we say fingers crossed.
Great, great. So, Kathy, I am aware about you, but the thing is that it is very first time I will upload this video on YouTube. So, for
Mhm.
my audience, would you like to give your introduction, please?
Sure. I am Kathy Tosolt, and I am an ESL, English as a Second Language teacher. I primarily teach English to international executives
Mm-hmm.
online and in person.
Mm-hmm.
So if anyone is interested in having lessons, feel free to reach out. I can
Yes.
have you link my website information to the video.
Yes, sure. I will provide all the details related to your website and everything in the description box. Everyone can check it out and have a conversation with you related to this language, any problem if they are facing. Okay.
Great.
So, yeah. So, Kathy, actually, I want to ask few questions so that,
Okay.
so that the other audience, whoever like watching this video, can understand. Like, I'm from India, right? And you are from United States, right?
Right.
So we are communicating in a beautiful manner, and this is I would say like your kindness, and you are so generous. This is second time I'm meeting, I would say.
You're
Yeah,
so sweet.
yeah. Like in a first meeting when I had a conversation with you, initially, I felt okay. I have no idea about the personality, about the demeanor, and
Right.
but after that meeting, my God, I think, wow, so sweet, so
Oh,
generous, so kind.
oh my gosh, thank you. I need to talk to you more often. Yeah, I mean, and
Yeah.
I try to do that with students. I mean, everyone. I'm a friendly person, and I know that learning English can be very we say nerve-wracking, and people get
Yes.
really nervous for their
Yes.
lessons because they're afraid that they're going to, make mistakes and embarrass themselves. But I try to just be as more like a friend. I mean, I don't want them to feel like they can't express themselves because, oh no, my teacher's gonna, think I'm not smart, or I'm not doing my homework. I mean, I try to keep it very casual,
Yes.
and I think that's important because that's how it would be if you were in the States. People in the United States are very friendly.
Yeah.
If you go to the grocery store, someone's going to talk to you in line, and in
Yeah.
a lot of cultures, that's not normal. In our
It's
in
true.
English, it's very
Yes.
normal.
Kathy,
Yeah.
it's true. Like in modern era, many time I have observed people don't want to give 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but you accepted my invitation, and I feel oh so sweet. So
Oh,
eternally grateful for that, Kathy.
yeah. I
And
think we hit it off right away. So I wanted to talk to you again. So.
thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, Kathy, as you said, like there is a fear inside our heart,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
How to
Hmm.
speak with native speaker. They will
Hmm.
evaluate us, evaluate our speaking and all. So,
Hmm.
how to overcome from that problem and situation, according to you? I want to know. As a
How to
teacher.
avoid that, getting nervous? Well,
Mhm.
I don't think it's possible to completely avoid getting nervous. I think that that's just part of being human.
Mhm.
But I think the problem comes in when people they they stop and really focus on their mistakes, because then when you focus on the mistake moving forward, you're probably going to make more mistakes.
More
And the
correct.
same thing happens when you're listening to people. A lot of times people will try to listen to someone and they'll miss a word or they won't understand something. And
Yes.
then they get fixated on that one word or phrase, and then they've missed everything else that comes after it.
Correct.
So my advice would be pretty basic. If you make a mistake or you don't understand something, make note of it. Maybe write something down, but just let it go. You have to let it go, because if you don't, it's going to hinder your progress.
Correct. Very good. Like, I am also working professional, so I always try to create such kind of environment so that they can feel very friendly. They are able
Yeah,
to
for
express
sure.
their feeling, right? So it should be there.
Yeah, and another thing that I noticed is that I've talked to a lot of students who make a lot of mistakes, but they talk very fluently. Like they just keep
Yes.
going. They keep going and they're making mistakes, but I'm able to understand them. I mean, I clearly can understand them. So a lot of times the mistakes that we make when we're speaking another language, they don't, as long as they're not changing the meaning
Yes.
completely about what we're saying and the other person can understand what we mean, then it's not a huge deal. I mean, obviously you want to work on those things and perfect them, but sometimes if you just speak, as well as you can, especially with the teacher, that's what we want. We want to hear exactly how you speak, so then we can make note of what do we need to focus on. And we're not doing it to say, oh, you're bad, you're a horrible speaker.
Yes.
We're
Yes.
doing it so that we can help you. So the more open and the more talking you can do, the better we are able to help you perfect those mistakes.
Correct, Kathy. Like, I always say this single message to my student: whatever comes in your mind, go with a beautiful flow
Yeah,
without
go
a
with the
fear.
flow. That's what we say, go with the flow.
So that we
Right.
can correct you at least. Okay. And we are here not to judge your English, your communication skills. We are here to correct you, to assist
Right.
you, to
Right.
guide you.
Yeah, and I've found that most students are harder on themselves than we are on them. They think, "Oh, my English is so bad." I mean, if
Yes.
I had $1 for every time someone said, "My English is so bad," I would be a rich woman because everyone thinks their English is so bad, and I'm actually listening to them thinking,
Yes.
"Oh, wow. I mean, they're really good." And I mean, you're learning a second language. I mean, that is
Correct.
huge. I mean, most Americans honestly can't even speak one language. Well, most Americans, English is still
Correct.
something they make mistakes in. So, we most Americans don't speak more than English. So
Yes.
just the fact that you're learning another language is to us like, wow, that is so cool.
And Kathy, in our mother tongue, in our native language, also we make mistakes sometimes. It happens
Oh, all the time. All
all
the
the
time.
time,
Yeah.
right? And I think we should carry an attitude which is so beautiful. Try to be grounded and try to convey a message to your brain that you are learning, right?
Yeah.
You are
That's a
learning.
Yeah, and that's huge. I mean, the fact that you can actually have a conversation in another language I mean, that's very commendable. And it takes a lot of work and a lot of practice.
Yes, it's true.
Mm.
Okay, Kathy, one more question. Like everywhere, people ask this fluency and fluent, how to be fluent, right?
Okay.
In this English communication. So, what
Mhm.
is your views on that? How to make them understand that? How to answer them? How to tackle this question?
How to become fluent?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So my suggestion, probably not what they want to hear, but consistency.
Yes.
Consistency is really the key. I
Mhm.
mean, people think a lot of times, well, if I just take an hour class, once a week, this
Yes.
person's going to help me become fluent. Well, that's not really how it works. And if somebody says, I can make you fluent in
Mhm.
X amount of weeks,
Correct.
you know, they're probably lying because they're not going to be doing it. They're going to help you to become
Yes.
fluent with your effort. So you need to be putting in as much time on the language as possible. Really
Correct.
immerse yourself into the language. You need to be listening to podcasts in English. You need to be watching English television shows. Find a friend and just say, you know what, for the next 15, 20 minutes, only English. And just start training your brain to think in English, because if you don't, it will be very hard to become
Correct.
fluent.
Correct. I think we have to be very composed mind, right? If you are in a learning process, whether it is language, whatever it is, you have to be very calm. Okay, be
Right.
patient. Be patient.
Yeah, be patient and be consistent, because I mean,
Consistent.
think about if you're trying to get into shape and you're going to the gym once a week for an hour, I mean, you're probably not going to see any significant changes in your body. You have to be going every single day or 5 days a week consistently.
Correct.
And you have to be watching what you eat, and you know, your whole lifestyle has to change in order to see results. So it's the same with the language. You have to really make an effort and have the mindset that this is what my goal is.
Yeah.
And that's another thing to know is, what is your goal? I mean, that's a huge thing. If you don't know your why, then it's hard to know where you're going. You know, some people, you know, they want to learn everyday language, like moms that are coming here with their husbands. They want to learn, you know, when I go to the grocery store, when I go to a school event or a parent teacher conference. But then a lot of businessmen obviously want to learn business English. So that's a completely different type of English. So you need to focus on exactly what you need for what your goal is. And then the other things you can work on, but you can work on at a later time. You need to focus on small bites, we say, small bites.
Correct. I completely agree with that, because without setting a goal, it is not possible at all to achieve, to reach at a point.
Yeah, and the English and any language is so vast. There's so much that people get overwhelmed. They try to take on the whole language instead of just the parts that they need at the moment. And then they get overwhelmed and then they quit.
All the time they feel like they get overwhelmed. It's completely true, I would say, because I realize all the time when I'm conducting my sessions. So I feel the same. But I always say, like, only consistency is the key of success if you want to achieve something.
For sure. And a good teacher.
Thank you so much.
Got it.
I'm just trying to be, Kathy. I'm just trying to give such a wonderful environment to all the students. And most of the time they are working professional. So one question more related to this, like, I have visited your profile on LinkedIn. So your expertise in business English, I would say, right? So according to you, most of the time people don't understand what is the difference of it. Like, this is general English, this is business. So what is the main, like, how to differentiate in it? So that they can make a goal of it. Okay, I want to achieve this business one. Common.
Right. Well, there's different vocabulary. When you're in a business setting, you're obviously going to be speaking a little bit differently than if you're just, you know, out hanging out with friends. So the vocabulary, we would focus on mainly words used in a workplace. And then work on, there's thousands of phrasal verbs in English. We would focus on the phrasal verbs that are the most common in the work setting. And then after we do the vocabulary, you'd have to learn how to say those, because it's really it's not going to do any good if you know all this vocabulary, but no one understands you when you use them. So then learning how to say them, and then incorporating that into the business skills. So it's one thing to know business words and business phrases, but how do we incorporate those into our presentations and our meetings.
Yes.
So a lot of times we work on the actual skills needed that you do in your own language and just transfer those skills into English. So it's really a whole package that you have to work on.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So one more thing, Kathy. I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, no.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
here.
Thank you so much for your positivity, for this ravishing smile. I really appreciate, Kathy.
Yeah, no, it's fun.
And I really enjoying this conversation with you. So,
Yeah.
you know, Kathy, in India, I have observed, like particularly I'm talking about India, right? And you are teaching internationally. So I believe that always communication is two-way process. Okay.
For
But
sure.
most of the time, student when they join, they think, okay, I have to speak only. I'm not going to listen to the other speaker.
Oh no.
So
Yeah, you have to, for
yeah,
sure. Especially nowadays with so much international communication going on over Zoom like
yes,
this,
yes,
or even just, conference calls with with no video. It's so important to understand. And I know we talked about this, that in English, especially in North American English, we use so many words that do not sound the same as the way they're written, like that. Written, we say written. And gonna, I've probably said it a million times during this. I'm gonna do this, or I wanna. We reduce words, we blend words, we speak in sound units. So we're a very beat driven language. So you can really just beat out the sounds and the rhythm of our sentences. So all of that is so important in, first of all, understanding other people, and then having other people understand you. Because there's nothing worse than saying something like 10 times and people saying, what? Like, I don't understand. Say it again. And it just becomes this really awkward situation. So if you learn the little tricks, it's almost like a puzzle about how North American English speakers speak. If you learn the little tricks, everything will start to make more sense. And you're like, oh, I see what they did there. Okay, they said this, but they meant this. So it's pretty complicated. It really is. And it's helpful to have somebody really point out what's happening. And then the more you hear it, the more you'll recognize what's going on.
Yes, correct. And the audience is listening to you, the way you are constructing your sentence, like it is very soothing, I would say. And the rhythm, the way
Okay,
you
good.
are, okay, because like most of the time, what is happening out there, I feel in such a way, they want to be fluent and they are speaking in a very high pace to sound fluent. But like now it's clear, you are also telling us clarity should be there. Clarity is most important.
For sure. And that's the thing. When I'm teaching pronunciation, my first goal is to have people recognize what they're hearing from other people. And it's not so important that you do that. Like, it's not so important that you say, I'm gonna go, to the meeting. It's important that you know that someone else is saying, I'm going to go, but they'll say, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. And they think, oh, they're speaking so fast. So like you said, they try to talk like this and then they think it's really good. And it's like, no, because I can slow it down and say, oh yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. So I'm still speaking slowly and we still do the reductions.
Correct.
So yeah, fast is not what we're doing.
Yeah, so that's why no problem. Like I'm able to understand what exactly you want to say. And I think every person should understand that go with a very moderate space and so that the other person can find a space to understand at least. This much of a space should be there.
Yeah, and a lot of times there's no space. I mean, it sounds like one big word.
Yeah.
So if I said I taught a class, I would say I taught a class.
Yeah.
So taught a class
Yeah.
would be one sound unit, but it's actually taught a class.
Correct.
So there's a lot going on just in that. With taught, the T turns to a D. I taught a class. I taught a class.
Yes,
So,
sometimes I think we have to pronounce T like D sound, right?
right. And there are rules to that. There's rules because North American English speakers hate their T's. So a lot of the times the T can be eliminated completely. Excuse me, like internet. Like we don't say internet, we say internet. And then there's other times that we say the T as a D. So like computer, computer, we say the D.
Yes.
And then other times we do say the T, like Italian. So there are rules to that. And that's something that I do teach in my course, you know, as to when to use the D, when not to. Yeah, there's a lot to unfold there.
Yes, it's an ongoing process.
Yes, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
Okay, so one more thing I want to know, Kathy, like how do you adapt your communication, this beautiful communication style, like when you interacting with individuals from diverse culture, diverse background?
Right. Well, I try to speak slower than I normally would, first of all. And they'll tell me, and I tell them because, you know, we have a friendly rapport. I'll say if I'm talking too quickly, just say, you know, slow down a little bit. And I try to, if the person is at a lower level, I try to talk more like this. But if they're at a higher level, I try to speed it up. I try to speed it up and speak in a way that they will hear, because even in professional business English, people will say, I gotta go. I've got to go. I've got to go. I mean, some of those are just so integrated into the language that it's not unprofessional to say them. So yeah, we talk about all of that, but yeah, I try to adapt. I mean, you have to kind of meet somebody where they're at. You know, if I'm talking up here and they're here, there's no sense in
point.
Speaking.
Yes, it is like if the person is not understanding, then it's like pointless, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. So for the effective business English, Kathy, what are the key components according to you?
For effective business English, well, first of all, like I said, is knowing what your goal is.
Yes.
So we always want to know, I mean, where are you trying to go? Are you trying to learn the basic vocabulary? Are you already at a level where you feel pretty comfortable, but you want to tweak it and get it to the next level? So first, what's your goal? Secondly is being able to identify the language for your type of business. So a lot of the business English words would be similar, but if you have a field where you need specific training, that's something we do too. Like right now I'm working with a doctor who is struggling with some of the drug names, the pharmaceutical drug names, because they're all super long, super long. Yeah, and she's putting the stress on the wrong part of the word, so it sounds like a completely different drug. So that's important. I mean, you don't want to give somebody the wrong the wrong drug or have somebody think they're taking something different. So yeah, pronunciation, like I said, we learn the vocabulary. Then we learn the pronunciation. And then we talk about specifics. So do you need work on your emails? Do you need to work on your presentations? Is that something that you do in your business? Meetings are really big. A lot of times I find that people are very quiet in meetings and they don't jump into a conversation because they're afraid. You know, they're like, and they hesitate, and then they think, oh, I'm going to say something, and then the conversation has gone on and they've missed their opportunity. And in meetings, especially if they're big meetings, you are being looked at by your managers, by your, by the higher ups, to see who is really engaged and who is willing to, contribute. So if you're just sitting back and you're not participating and making any comments, then you're going to be, kind of forgotten. So you want to be able to be confident enough to contribute in those situations. So what your goal is really going to determine exactly what we focus on, and that's something that our initial meeting, a strategy session would consist of.
Yes, it's true. It's true. I believe in that also. However, like I have seen practically Kathy most of the time on social media and everywhere. Like I think to understand, to take the courses of pronunciation is really very important. And to understand the tone and the rhythm of this language is also crucial part. It is an integral part of it. If your clarity is not with the pronunciation, your tone, the rhythm of the same, so it is not going to increase the beauty of your speech, I believe.
Right. And it makes it really hard for people to understand. I think when I ask people who is the hardest to understand here, most of them say Indian and like Scottish or like Irish. So there's certain accents that are really hard for Americans to understand. And it's not anything, prejudiced against these people. It's just, it's because of the rhythm of the language. And we talked about this briefly, where like we have certain rhythms in our language. And if you stress the wrong word in a sentence or stress the wrong syllable in a word, you could be communicating something totally different. So like, for example, something like the White House. Okay, the White House is where the president lives. Okay, the White House. Right. But if we say the White House in stress house, that is just any house that's white.
House, correct.
Right. So a hot dog is something you eat, whereas a hot dog is your dog is overheating. So it really depends on what you're stressing. So that's a huge part of the language. And I think it's one of the components, like you said, that is such an integral part, and it's so overlooked. And it's not taught in schools, in schools in other countries. A lot of times they just think, okay, well, I know the words, I know what order they come in, so I'm good. But that's not the case.
Yes. This session is really so informative. Even I'm learning, Kathy.
Oh, good.
Yeah, really. It's really very informative. And I think many people will take the advantage of it. The way you are making us understand the position of right words, the stress of a word. So it is really informative. Still, I would say, like, what about accent, Kathy? People want to change their accent also. Is it important? What is your views on that?
I don't think your accent's the problem, because there are lots of people. For example, Jackie Chan is an Asian movie star, and he's made millions and millions of dollars in American movies, and we understand him. There's so many different accents, movie stars with accents.
Yes.
We can understand them. So you can have an accent, but as long as you're using the rhythm and stressing the right parts, you will be understood. Now, if you want to lose your accent for a particular reason, some people who are in sales and they're working primarily with the American market, they feel like they are at a disadvantage with an accent, just for whatever reason. If people are going to think, oh, I want to work with somebody local, they want to lose their accent. There are things that are we can work on to do that. But I don't think it's the most important part. And I almost think that an accent is part of you. I feel like it's part of your
Yes.
character, and is there something charming about an
Yes.
accent? So I
Yes.
hate to take that away when people say that. They say, "Oh, I want to lose my accent." I'm like, "No, you sound so cool. I love it."
And I also like this beauty, like it should be there, and you have to
Yeah,
be comfortable with your own accent. The thing
yeah.
is that we have to comprehend that this is a medium to convey your message. That's
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
Like we are having this wonderful conversation
Mhm.
and we are able to understand to each other,
Right,
right? So why I'm going to change my accent? No, it's not like that, Kathy. Even
right.
I'm a trainer, but I'm
Mhm.
working to improve more. I'm working
Mhm.
on my pronunciation, tone, and
Mhm.
rhythm still. Like, let
Right.
me.
And yeah, and there's millions of accents in the world. So, and even
Yeah,
in America, there's so many different nationalities here and so many accents that
yeah,
you'll be talking to people from all different parts of the world. So
yes.
again, yeah, the rhythm and the tone and the stress is really the most important.
Most important, yes. So, yeah, thank you so much. So, these are the questions. So, thank you so much,
Oh, okay,
Kathy.
good. That was
Yeah.
fun. That was
Yeah.
fun.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Hope you enjoyed a lot with me, Kathy.
I did. I liked it. I love to talk about it because I'm passionate about it, and I love to help people,
Yes.
get to the next level with their English. It's
Yeah.
fun. It's good. It's really rewarding to see the improvements in
I can
people when
see,
they're
Kathy,
speaking.
when you were explaining about the tone, the rhythm, the stress, and the
Yeah.
pauses, and you took the example of White House.
Yeah.
So I can see on your face also.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's cute. That's sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I really enjoyed it. And I appreciate you inviting me to speak. And yeah, if you have any questions or any of your viewers have questions, that everybody is welcome to reach out. I'm friendly.
Sure.
So,
Sure, sure. So again, thank you so much to be with me, to
you're
enjoy
welcome.
this conversation. This is a candid conversation, an informative tool. Like
Hmm.
you shared so many information related to this language. And at
Hmm.
the end, we should understand, okay, no need to change your accent. Work on your
Hmm.
pronunciation. It's an ongoing process. Try to make
Yeah,
clear sentence so the opposite person can understand you. That's it.
for sure.
And
Yeah,
enjoy.
and for sure. Yeah, enjoy it. Try to have fun with it. So, yeah, on LinkedIn, I provide free tips for international executives or professionals in business English. So, if anybody wants to follow me on there, they can do that as well and get some
Sure,
get some
sure.
free advice.
It is very informative, I would say, because I love to read all the articles and whatever you are sharing.
Oh, good.
So, and I will also provide all the details related to you, Kathy, so that
Okay,
people can get
perfect.
in touch with you also. So,
Okay,
okay. So, thank
sounds
you
good.
again, Kathy. Have a
You're
wonderful
welcome.
time.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.